Okay.
Driveways might be horrible. The roads are okay. Did you order them correct? No, I don't like them. Yeah, there's one left.
Good evening. I'd like to call the January 2017 General Services Committee meeting to order, our first one of the year. Thanks for trekking out into the inclement weather, and we'll get this done. At this time, are there any additions, corrections, deletions to the minutes? Hearing none, we'll accept those. Privilege of the floor. Esteemed 3, anything to add? No? Okay. Well, with the weather, let's just get right into it.
First resolution this evening is authorizing agreement and amending the 2017 county budget in relation to the fiscal year 2016-17 State Public Safety Answering Point Sustainability Grant.
Have motion, please. Mr. Toldo, Mr. Nevwanick. Discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Well, thank you, Mr. Gray, for letting us get free, clear basketball for tonight at 7 o'clock. Next.
Okay, reappropriating funds from various unspent grants relative to the Fire and Emergency Management Department and amending the 2017 county budget in relation thereto.
Have motion, Mr. Max and Mr. Toldo. Discussion. All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Authorizing extension of memorandum of agreement with the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services.
May I have motion, please? Mr. Nevwanick, Mr. Maxon. Discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Authorizing agreements in connection with the New York State Snowmobile Trails Grant and Aid Program and amending the 2017 budget in relation thereto.
Mr. Maxon, Mr. Ferris. Discussion? I always recognize you, buddy. All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Amending the 2016 county budget relative to overtime reimbursement in the Sheriff's Department.
May I have motion, please? Mr. Doldo. Mr. Ferris. Discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Authorizing fiscal year 2016 Operation Stone Garden Grant Agreement and amending the 2017 budget in relation thereto.
May I have motion, please? Mr. Doldo. Mr. Ferris. You're on a roll. Discussion? Discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Mr. Maxon. Motion passes. 1 nay. In your packet, you had the monthly departmental reports for weights and measures. Is there anything else to come before the committee tonight? We have 3 department heads, or 2 plus 1.
Mr. Chairman and board members, just for the good of the order of information, this wasn't related directly at the moment to the committee, but just so you're aware, on a couple of different occasions, as the city of Watertown has been exploring what to do about their jail facility.
Unless you don't want.
I thought it was their jail facility. They've looked at a variety of alternatives, And even through Office of Court Administration, OCA, we've been approached to say, what about our county complex? And there was a conversation in the fall, and after a little review, it was determined it's likely going to be too expensive to make the renovations there. So it kind of fell to the wayside. The city looked at other alternatives. Scott's had some conversations with the mayor over time, and we said, we're more than willing to lend assistance if it makes some sense from a county standpoint. Well, as the city narrowed down their locations to out at the industrial park, or potentially the renovations internally in their city hall building, we got approached again because the OCA folks said, well, what about moving to the 4th floor and essentially relocating everything that's already there? And the idea of squeezing the courts, 2 courts, not 1, into that location. So it was pre-Christmas, kind of a casual gathering, but it was with some representatives from OCA, and they came in and kind of told us what they thought could happen, and the judge would be thrilled if everything got consolidated in one location. We examined it internally ourselves a little bit and really walked away with, if we're going to see anything happen with regards to the county court complex, and this is going full circle from where we started in the beginning, and having the city a part of it, which was the original concept, if some of you would recall. It would require some new construction externally to our existing building on space that's parking lot located now, so it's kind of to the downtown side of the complex. On the new side, not on the historic side. So most recently, and the city has a firm, Bernier Carr, that's doing some exploratory assessments. So all this said, there was a meeting last Friday to begin to explore it a little bit more, and we don't know where the Office of Court Administration is going to land on this thing. We don't know if it's financially feasible. It's in the very early stages. So other than a couple staff people and Scott involved and the mayor involved, in the casual conversations, we're beginning to explore that a little bit. In any event, if things were to surface down the road, we'd let you know, and we'd move in that direction. If it's not going to surface, we'd probably still let you know, just this kind of resurfaced from last fall. However, today the reporter for the city apparently somehow has gotten wind of something, so I suspect tomorrow will be some sort of a story. Again, we're user-friendly, we're here to help. We'll take a look at it, but we're not going to put ourselves in a position candidly to inherit the problems the city has right now. There's no room in the inn. And our facility was built for some level of expansion, but not a huge amount. And if we're going to do something with the city, it really needs to be standalone. So Bernier Carr is going through this early stage of a process to do some assessments. But having said that, frankly, in simple math, it does tend to make some sense. Whether that plays out or not remains to be seen. And I say it for this reason, is if it's a brand new facility, which is kind of what the city's looking at right now in the industrial park, a number that's been pegged for, I don't know, for 10,000 square feet is $3 million or something like that, maybe a little bit more square footage. But what's required in that location, as one example, is having corridors that address movement of the public, movement of staff, and movement of the prisoners that are separate and distinct. If they were to add a floor or two to the county complex, all of that is already done. You don't need to worry about separate but equal. There's a separate entrance for the prisoners, there's a separate entrance for the public, and there's, if you will, on the back side, there's hallways for the staff. That would already be in place. The way we structured the construction before, if we're going to do a 10,000 square foot expansion, likely the heating cooling system that's in our complex is usable for that too. We don't have to redo it. Again, that's assumptions. Those are simple examples. But it's likely something that might be feasible to be able to do, but time will tell, and we're very much on the front end of that exploratory process. And again, whether OCA is in favor of that, don't really know. Philosophically, they had said before it'd be kind of nice to put everybody back together. Judge Torme is who I'm referring to, Judge Tormey's been here several times, has been very complimentary of what we do and how we do it. So this isn't a situation like this whatsoever, but ultimately the 5th District will make a decision one way or the other. But if it's a $3 million standalone, it's a $2 million adding on to our complex, and it's back to $3 million for the City Hall renovations, and they still are squeezed, pretty simple to figure out where that might go. So it's early stages. I think there'll be a story tomorrow. It'll be very generic, I would hope, because there isn't any real details, but the media are busy making phone calls. So taking the time to let everybody know what's going on.
I think that's great. I appreciate you bringing that forward.
Oh, yep. And to embellish on this just a wee bit, that is part of the indigent defense changes and protocols and procedures that are coming down as early as April 1st. And specifically in this case, what that means is that if somebody is arrested at 3 in the morning in Alex Bay, before we or the law enforcement folks would pick up the phone, call the town justice, they would go there, the person's arraigned. Now because they're arraigned, they can go to jail or be released on their own recognizance in the situation. Under the new guidelines, there has to be a public defender and there has to be a district attorney at that point in time. So now it becomes a question, where's everybody going? How do you make it happen? It's very much a logistic issue for counties throughout the state of New York, but that's where the central arraignment concept comes in, that on the daytime end, it's looking like it would likely be wherever the city courts are, but that might mean more space. In the evening time, they're talking about the town of Watertown as a central location. Town justices will take turns showing up, and if nobody's to be arraigned, everybody's goes. So up until 10 o'clock at night, you show up at the town of Watertown and can get arraigned. The problem still exists from 10 at night to 9 the next morning. What happens? Again, to be worked out. Our DA is directly involved with it. The sheriff is involved with it. There's a meeting later this week to talk about that very thing. But at the end of the day, there's a physical plant piece, which is what Scott is referring to. So we don't quite know where that's going to shake out. So there is the city two courts location. Now there is this other element of services. It's again, it might be something that becomes a part of the puzzle. It's important for you all to know that, again, this is very early. We don't know when it's feasible. We won't know when the numbers are in. But we've offered the opportunity.
We just have problems.
We just finished a piece of the public safety building, although that is now been paid off COVID for that project in 1990 or 1992, but there's still a relationship with the city paying for certain and stuff. But they actually paid their fair share of debt towards that project, which they didn't get because they paid their fair share. Conceivably, that's something that happens this time around. Or you kind of that we get kind of comfortable with. Again, we're not even there because we don't know how it's going to work out. But I would say a mayor is really the idea of I think this is we don't know about other city council members over the way. Again, there'll be plenty of time to vet this whole discussion, once there's some detail to it. We frankly, just won't get a little further down the line with the details, more than sure, because we'd like to see something going on in the sure. Yeah. Very well.
Anything else to come before the committee? Motion to adjourn, Mr. Doldo, Mr. Maxon, thank you for coming. Everybody, be careful, drive safe on the way home.
Yep. Thanks for coming.
Mike, thanks for sticking around.
Thanks, Mike, for coming.
What's that?
Nonsense. That's your way.